Levels.
Levels. Are you having a problem on your side?
I'm double checking my levels to make sure that I'm there. I think that looks better. Does that look better on your side?
Yes. That
Yep.
looks good without clipping. Yeah.
Right. Yep. You're a little hot.
Thank you. Hold on. Okay. How about now?
Yes. Now that's better.
I'm the
There we
proper
go.
level of hotness now. Okay.
Yes. This is okay. Now that the primping is done.
Jeez. It's microphone jokes never get old. Well, I mean they do, but as old as all the rest of the jokes.
You remember when I sent you the link so that you could look at the results of the toddler voting on the toddies?
Oh yeah. I remember that. I remember you sending that to me. Yes.
Did you look at the results?
I got the link. Did I click on the link? No, I did not. I mean, if I'm clear, that sounds like more than
2% of the work. Yeah, I know.
Hey, you know what? I got to stay on brand.
Jesus. So when I announce the winners tonight, you're going to be just as surprised as everyone else?
Pretty much. You know what? Absolutely.
So we're playing Todd Oughta Know twice this week. Hi, toddlers. Welcome to Talking to Todd, a weekly podcast with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Friends, where failure is always an option. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. Looks like you're in Studio F.
We're dropping F-bombs. That is right.
Excellent. Plenty of sunshine in that room.
There is plenty of sunshine. I played golf today. There will be more on that later. Teaser.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was. Here's the thing. So we're in Florida, visiting Amy's mom, and working throughout the day, and then in the evenings, helping her fix things or doing stuff or whatever. Yesterday it was cloudy, kind of gloomy, high of 69, and all of the locals were complaining about how cold it was. And Amy and I are walking around in t-shirts and shorts. I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is fantastic weather.
People are walking past you in sweaters, got scarves wrapped around their neck, and you guys are out in shorts.
Yeah, played golf today, and the person driving the beverage cart, full winter coat. Yes. Yes.
You know what? It's all about perspective. It's about where you came from, right?
Sure.
And again, maybe I'll just, when I had one of my first jobs, when I worked at the newspaper in Ames, I got in there, started doing stuff, and everybody's like, man, thank you for helping. Thank you for fixing my computer. Thank you for doing this. And I'm like, I didn't really do that much. You said, hey, my computer's not working. And I showed up with a copy of Norton's Disc Doctor, and I ran it, and I fixed a couple of things, or I replaced a mouse for you. This isn't that big a deal. And they said, oh, no. The guy that was here for the last 5 years before you, when he would walk through, we'd say, hey, my computer's having a problem. And he would go, huh, and then walk to his office, and you wouldn't see him for the rest of the day. So the fact that you're doing more than that makes you look really good. And again, what I learned was that had nothing to do with my performance. It's what everybody was used to. You're used to 0 degrees. 69 degrees for you is shorts. Everybody else is used to 80 or 90, same temperature. It doesn't have anything to do with the temperature. It's what you're used to prior to that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Please continue.
Honestly, I didn't get any feedback this week. All of the feedback came in the form of voting for the toddies.
I think that we're going to consider that the feedback, because we did get multiple, we got lots of votes. So I think we will consider that. I think everybody, they're like, look, I can vote or I can tell you I can't do both. So
were there any corrections from last week or follow-up that we needed to cover?
no, and actually, the fact is, I mean, given the fact that we gave out some awards, the fact that that there hasn't been any cease and desist letters show up at the home office, I'll take that as a win. So I'm perfectly happy with no feedback at this point.
Okay, fantastic. Should we jump back?
Oh, I do have some follow up, however.
Oh, okay.
And this goes back a ways. I was listening to one of my other tech podcasts, Mac tech podcasts, a podcast called Upgrade. And in the last week or two, they were talking about somehow they were talking about the Apple Watch and about settings on the Apple Watch. And I know what it was. A person had written in saying that they had, okay, now I remember, sorry. They had written in saying, hey, apparently there's an app here for hand washing. Why is there a hand washing app on my Apple Watch? At which point the two hosts said, this made a lot more sense about 5 years ago. So I'm not sure if the person who's writing to us is really young or maybe blacked some stuff out. But at one point, when this got released, everybody knew why it was there. However, then one of the hosts, and these people spend their entire career is talking about Mac technology. He had one piece of feedback for Apple that Amy had on this podcast as follow-up, I think 2 to 3 years ago. Do you remember what Amy's feedback was around Apple Watch and around the hand washing timer and another feature on the Apple Watch?
Vaguely, I remember that she had this feedback, but I couldn't tell you exactly what it was.
Her feedback was, if you're running a hand washing timer and then you go to use a blow dryer, the watch tells you that you've exceeded the noise limit because it's super loud. And she said, if it's smart enough to know that you're washing your hands, then it ought to be smart enough to know that that noise is from the hand dryer, and you shouldn't give me a warning on that. Why can't it be smart enough for that? That was like 2 to 3 years ago. On the last Upgrade podcast, one of the hosts said, here's the thing. It knows that I'm washing my hands, but then it tells me that that it's too loud. Why? It's smart enough. Why? Amy could lead a Mac Tech podcast, is what I'm saying. She's ahead of the curve on asking the questions of why can't Apple do this?
So should we go to the results of the Toddies?
I am dying to find out what they are. So yes, let's. You're very proud of that theme.
I am very proud of that theme. Unnaturally proud. So there were 5 categories that we had voting on.
Yep.
Biggest idiot, the idiot of the year.
Okay. Which again, by the way, the idiot of the year does not get an award. We had that when we started talking about this. We're like, this isn't an act, like this is like an anti-award. They do not get a magnet.
Right. I'm not sending them anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So the categories were
the nominees.
The nominees were the baseball player who told the opponents what pitch was coming.
Yep.
And I gave each of these
a title.
A title.
Yes.
That was Catcher in the Rye, spelled W-R-Y. The Amazon AI grocery store checkout system. Dudes in India watching your cart. Drug sniffing dog for the IFPD, otherwise known as the training exercise that went to pot. The stolen trees in Northwest Iowa, which is the saga of the sovereign woodsman. And the lady who fed 100 raccoons, dubbed Trash Panda Express. So in third place was Catcher in the Rye. In second place was the Saga of the Sovereign Woodsman. And in first place with 66.7% of the vote. And we got double-digit votes here, folks.
Excellent.
The Lady Who Fed 100 Raccoons, Trash Panda Express.
Congratulations.
Okay. Yes.
We would send you the magnet, but I don't think the Postal Service is delivering anymore because your house is surrounded by raccoons.
There were 3 nominees for favorite hiatus episode, favorite episode at a time. In third place, Large Chunks of Squid. In second place, Vegas Not Vegas. And in first place, top 5-ish musicals with special guest Lisa Prinz. Congratulations, Lisa.
Hey, look at that. Excellent.
Your magnet is in the mail.
I will let her know. I mean, I'm assuming she's going to listen to this at some point, so maybe I won't let her. Anyway, yeah, that's fine. I'll just.
There were 10 nominees for Show Art of the Year, and you could vote for up to 3
Yes.
show arts. The runaway winner was You and Me in the Ferris Bueller car.
That tracks. Yep.
Right? Tied for second place was You and Me in Your Green Hyundai and us wearing the astronaut helmets. But it wasn't close.
Wasn't even close.
It wasn't close.
Yeah.
Those were tied for second, but it wasn't close for first. Discarded titles of the year. I won't go through all of these, but in third place, getting 40% of the vote, episode 244, Stat Damon. In second place, The Silver Doug. Episode 226, everybody was lizard fighting.
That's a strong one.
Which garnered 50% of the vote.
Okay, just once again, you could vote for more than one.
That's right.
Because right now we have 40% of the vote and 50% of the vote, which carry the six.
That math is hard.
By the thing. Yeah, like hold on, I got to get to the other. I got to count on the other knuckle. That's June, July, August. No, that's wrong. Okay, what's the winner?
Episode 206. Money or Nazis, that got 80% of the vote. It appeared on 80% of the ballots.
That's a mandate.
That is.
I don't care what anybody says. That's a mandate.
That. Yes, I agree. That is a mandate. Okay, and show title. We had a tie for show title of the year. So, Todd, your vote is going to have to break the tie for show title of the year.
Okay.
Episode 210. Option number 1, episode 210, Big Dwayne Energy.
Yep.
Option number 2, episode number 218, Vegas Not Vegas.
Ooh.
Right? How do you choose? And there was a 6-way tie for second place.
Okay. You know what? To honor the 6-way tie, I think we declare a tie on the top ones. And we can have 2.
There we go. Okay, so 2 show titles of the year. There was a section where you could write in your own feedback, follow-up, and updates.
Yes.
Right? If people had feedback. When Lisa wins, she should know that her name can be anagrammed to spell rail spins, which is fitting for someone who likes trains.
Okay. Yeah. Although I'm just going to be clear. If you're on the train and they start talking about rail spins, not good.
That's not.
I don't know. And here's the thing. I don't know if the rails are spinning or the train's spinning, but what I'm going to be clear is none of it should be spinning.
None of it should.
Yeah.
Also, Liar's Nips and April Sins.
Huh. Okay. I think at least one of those is a contestant on Rue this year. Anyway, I'm not saying which one.
Either one, maybe both.
Yeah, who knows?
And people were able to write in their name optionally if they wanted to identify themselves. One came in from Grey Orgy, eh? Must be Canadian.
Canadian. Yep.
Toddler Matt Damon. Doug Wilkinson, the idiot toddler. Thanks everybody. Thank everybody who voted early and often. We appreciate you. This is always fun.
Yes, thank you, everybody. I'm glad everybody was like, I'm gonna have to vote this time. These guys can't pick right. I gotta go vote. I gotta go get the right one. Why do I want to look for Steve Karnacki right now? Did the 7th in Illinois just report? Anyway.
Let's see. What else do we have? We have, well, we kind of talked about Tech Corner already. We had a discussion at one point about whether or not I should upgrade my watch.
Yes.
I upgraded my watch.
Excellent.
Yep.
So what are you rocking now? The 10?
The 10.
Awesome.
Yep. And for me, the best part about it is that I use it as a golf watch. So I've got an app on it that tracks and listens for, and it feels the motion of the swing and recognizes, and then it also listens for the contact and whatever. Anyway, but doing that, it's active listening all the time on the watch.
Yeah.
Which would
drain the battery
desperately on the old watch, to the point where I could get maybe 4 holes in before. And so I couldn't really use it for that with the old watch. And I had to use my phone in my pocket.
Yep.
I've now played 2 rounds with the watch on. It is not, if I start with a battery totally full, it's not even halfway drained. And it's all watch all the time, no carrying the phone. It's fantastic. Absolutely worth the investment.
So I will throw out, and this relates to especially to the battery usage. I am also rocking a new Apple Watch. Well, newish. However, it's a Series 8. I had a Series 8, and it's slightly over 2 years old. On Apple devices with batteries, specifically phones and watches, if the battery health drops below 80%, meaning it can only be recharged up to 80% of its original maximum. If it drops below 80%, you can pay for battery replacement. It was not as smooth of a process as when I had another watch replaced, but basically with the current Apple Care Plus, you can request an express replacement. They don't actually replace the batteries in these things. When you send it in to be fixed, they send you a replacement that is like from the refurbished stock.
They just sent you a new watch, a nearly new watch.
So they basically, they just sent me one. So they were going to say, send it in and we'll have it back to you in a week. And I'm like, how about the express replacement that I paid for? And they're like, oh yeah, we could do that. 55 minutes later, they figured out how to do that. And 2 days later, a replacement watch showed up, put my watch in a box and sent it back, and somebody's going to get it. But anyway, I have a newly refurbished Series 8 with 100% battery.
They need to have a discussion about Express when it takes you 55 minutes.
There was a lot of, my system doesn't let me do that. I don't know. I don't know. Are you using an Apple product? You are? Well, that's all I got. Anyway, but so yes, I'm now in the 100% battery club as well when it comes to the watch. But you've got all the nice new stuff around it. But new fresh batteries are good in the watch.
It is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
I need to dip into technical corner a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to tell a cheerleader story. The cheerleaders were a little bit conflicted because at one point the game was a blowout. So I was reffing the game, but there was other stuff going on. And the cheerleaders at one point, it was ROWDIE. That's the way we spell rowdy, let's get rowdy. And my first thought, as I'm listening to this, going, was, boy, Todd's going to have a field day with this because that's not how you spell rowdy. But like 20 minutes later, they were chanting, "Let's get a little bit rowdy, ROWDY." And I'm like, okay, which I thought, because before ROWDIE, that's the way we spell rowdy.
Mm.
And then later that same night,
they made a clear statement that that's the way we.
Yes.
So, okay, it's not. What they're not saying is that they're not saying that's the right way, but they've drawn a line in the sand and said that that's the way we spell rowdy. And you're like,
okay,
it's not a good look for your English department, but okay. But who are we to talk about it? Okay. And then later, so technically, the second cheer, they were misspelling it.
I guess. ROWDIE. That's not always the way we spell rowdy.
It's the way we spell rowdy sometimes.
Occasionally.
Depends on how many syllables we need. You know, if only you or I knew of anybody who spent significant time as a high school cheerleader to discuss the intricacies of high school cheerleading spelling.
Either one of our siblings, I think, could probably contribute to this conversation.
Denise or Missy, if you're listening.
What was your, Todd? Did you have a favorite cheer?
Well, no. As soon as you said that, we did it a different way at our school because we didn't get ROWDIE. We got fired up. F-i-r-e-dup. That's the way we spell fired up. F-i-r-e-dup.
That's apostrophe D? F-i-r-e-d?
They didn't say the apostrophe. I guess it was implied. But also, here's how we spell up. Up. Okay. Yeah, that's...
Sure. Why not?
How do you spell Stegosaurus? Can I get that in a sentence? Yeah, the Stegosaurus lived at the same time as the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Stegosaurus. That's how I spell Stegosaurus.
Let's see. Should we do our second edition of Todd I Don't Know this
Sure.
week?
Yeah. Let's. I'm warmed up now. Okay.
I can't remember if we've told this story on the pod or not, but a really, really, really long time ago, Todd, you and I and Amy went to a baseball game in Des Moines at Sec Taylor Stadium.
We did? A AAA Iowa Cubs game?
Yes. I don't remember who the visiting team was, but it was the AAA Iowa Cubs.
Yep.
And a guy came around selling Sno-Cones.
Yes.
And Amy says,
I don't like Sno-Cones.
And the two of us both looked at her like she had three heads. You don't like Sno-Cones? And then you said,
I believe, was it, are you not an American?
You probably don't like apple pie either.
That may have been, yes.
And hate mom.
And by the way, just real clear, I actually don't have that strong of affinity for Sno-Cones, but it was hot, and it just felt like the right thing to say at the time.
So anyway, hitting my feed this week was a story from historyfacts.com about the history of apple pie.
Okay.
Todd, did you know that apple pie isn't from America?
It wouldn't surprise me. No. Okay.
The American phrase is, it's as American as apple pie, right? That's the phrase.
Yes.
However, the classic treat actually originated in 14th century England.
Okay.
Not in America.
England does know how to make pie. Now, I mean, most of them at this point are meat pies, but apples, sure, yes.
So, can you tell me, Todd, the ingredients in the first known record of an apple pie recipe in the English cookbook from 1390?
Oh, all right. I'm going to assume apples have to be in there somewhere. Okay. Strong start.
Yes. Okay. Check the box. Yes.
It said England, not Scotland, right?
Correct. No haggis.
I was going to say, because then I was going to just say, like, I don't know, cow stomach or something. But Dwayne's looking at the list. He's checking to make sure. Well, hold on.
No,
don't get ahead of yourself. I mean, I want to say flour.
No flour.
No flour. Okay. I mean, they had to make the pie out of something. Animal fat.
Okay. All of the ingredients were to be baked inside a hard lard-based shell called a coffin.
You know what? Here's the thing. I chickened out because my first guess was lard. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to expand lard to give me animal fat just to kind of...
cover all the bases.
First idea, best idea, Todd. Just go with it.
Called a coffin, more of a container, not exactly a golden flaky crust, but still.
Yeah.
Yes. What else are you putting inside the coffin?
For reasons why I can't describe right now, onion?
No.
Okay. Oh, I know what. Pecans.
And bourbon? No, neither of those.
Okay. Is there any milk that goes in there?
No milk. Also, no sugar.
Yeah, the English even today don't like. They think all of our desserts are way too sweet. I was never going to suggest sugar like that. Also, I have to imagine in the late 1300s, sugar. I mean, to the extent that there was sugar, that would probably be reserved for fairly high up, right?
Well, it was King Richard II's cooks.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Potatoes.
No, still, I mean, more of a fruit pie.
Okay.
So figs, raisins, pears, and spices along with the apples in the lard-based coffin.
Ironically, if you eat enough of those, coffin is exactly where you're going to find. What's that? What's that crust made out of? Lard.
So eventually, apple pie makes its way to America with the European settlers.
Yeah.
The first recorded mention of the dessert in the United States was in a diary in 1697.
Okay.
Multiple recipes from the 1800s. As early as 1902, a New York Times editorial called it a symbol of American prosperity. But most of the time, in the 1700s and 1800s, they grew apples mostly because of the cider and to make cider. And then the pie was a side effect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? So
what do we do with all these damn apples we can't make cider out of? I don't know. We could throw them away. Or, I don't know.
Wait, hear me out here. On the frontier, Todd, what's the average amount in ounces of hard cider consumed per day on the frontier?
Back then or now?
Back then.
Okay, just checking. Let's do 24 ounces.
10.52 ounces of hard apple cider. It's what they drank.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so I've got three more apple related questions here. The number of apple varieties that are native to North America, Todd?
I'm waffling between 0 and 1.
It is it. You know what? Okay, it is one. Can you name it?
Red Delicious.
Crab apple.
Uniquely American. Okay.
Speaking of uniquely American, what were the worldwide box office earnings of the 1999 movie American Pie?
In those dollars, right?
Sure.
Yeah. This isn't adjusted for current.
It's
Yeah.
whatever historyfacts.com has on their website.
Close enough. 375 million.
Not close enough to give it to you. 235 million.
Oh, I did it in today's dollars.
You did it.
Yeah,
Surely
yeah,
that's what it, yes, you did the math in your head.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, I mean, kind of a softball for you. The year Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak founded Apple Incorporated.
Oh, when it was incorporated, was it 77?
Founded.
Founded 76.
76.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I figured that was kind of a softball for you. So thanks to historyfacts.com for providing this week's Todd, I Don't Know. There's also a lot of questions in here about Johnny Appleseed, but I'm not going to bore you with that. He was a real guy, by the way.
Is he the guy that designed the iPod? No, that's
no.
No, getting things wrong. Okay.
What's next?
It looks like we're all moving on to the Scott Frost Memorial Idiot of the Week.
Fantastic. What'd you bring?
Okay. I didn't want to do this story. The original story came across this today, and I read it, and I marked it for Idiot of the Week. And then I'm like, I do not want to read this story or discuss it, partially because we have people who share this with their family. So no. And then it escalated, and I'm like, okay, now I have to cover this. Okay. So I will do the family friendly version of it. So this is soccer adjacent, but has really nothing to do with sports. Italy football club Lazio, their symbol is an eagle. And so they have a live eagle that gets released at the stadium for home matches. Ironically, by the way, do you know what you call the person who brings the eagle out on his arm and then releases it and trains the eagle to come back? Do you know what you call that person?
Lunch?
No, he's a falconer.
For an eagle.
I don't know. It's not even the word part of the story. I'm just going with it. So everybody refers to Juan Bernabe. He is the eagle mascot handler, also referred to as the falconer in some of these stories. He has been there for the last 15 years, and he actually lives at the training ground. He has a place at the training ground because that's where the eagle lives. So as part of his duties, he gets to live there. Over the weekend, he went in for some elective surgery. And having worked in healthcare IT, I always find it funny it's not funny. People who work with medical records, you have to do everything you possibly can to make sure that those don't get out in the wrong hands, because people have a right to privacy. But people don't have to exercise their own right to privacy. They can do whatever they want with their medical information. And what he decided to do, now this was a private Instagram feed, so it was just for his friends and family, which doesn't help, but it was meant for a small audience. But he had a picture from him laying in a hospital bed with his surgeon and his urologist both giving thumbs up after his surgery. Now, what elective surgery did he have? He had, we'll just call it an enhancement surgery.
Did they make his arm bigger so that it was easier for the eagle to land on?
Not his arm. Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Huh.
Yeah. However, you wouldn't have had to ask the question if you were a friend or a family member of his, because not only was he the smiling thumbs up surgeon and the smiling thumbs up urologist pictured in it, but so was the enhancement was in the photo.
Was it smiling thumbs up?
Sort of. So he posted this again.
Jesus.
So I don't know what makes this. Again, this is the first part of the story, and my first thought was, well, he put it on his private feed for his friends and family. Like, I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but I said, no, I am drawing the line. I am not covering this. You know what? You can do whatever the hell you want to do. And I guess this is what social media is now. Fine. Then, however, so he did it this weekend. That news got out and he was summarily fired by the club for posting a non-professional pic of him. Then it escalated because I pointed out that he lives at the training ground. So when they fired him, instead of leaving, he barricaded himself inside the training ground and refused to leave until he spoke with the owner of the club to get this cleared up. At which point the owner of the club said, I'm the one that fired him. Now, so the last report I have is he is still barricaded in his house, in his room at the training ground, wanting to negotiate his way out of this. Now, the only thing that I would say that he has a reason to think that this could be resolved, he was suspended in 2021 when he was filmed cheering in support of Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. He defended himself, saying that Mussolini did great things for Italy. They suspended him, and then they brought him back. So he's like, hey, in a way, what's a picture now at this point? Anyway, so this thing is now escalating, and I'm thinking if the club was embarrassed before, this is like the Streisand effect, right? Which is, don't take a picture of my house. Well, I'm going to sue you over it. What are we being sued over? Well, that's a picture of her house. Well, we should print that photo to show what the lawsuit's about. I'm guessing that once they fired him and then he barricaded himself, there's a whole bunch of people going, I'm sure this picture's somewhere on the internet. How hard could this be to find? Anyway, there you go, Juan Bernabe, medical aficionado and apparently Instagrammer. By the way, I have not seen, I'm just assuming the Eagle had no comment at this point. I don't know the guy. Look, we just work together. Like, I had no idea. There's no such thing as talent ID on the phone. I can't get into it. So I'm just here for whatever they feed me. So anyway, how about you? What'd you bring?
I'm not going to say that this story is related, but, and it could also have gone under follow-up because we've talked about this before. Todd, do you remember the Haktua girl?
Unfortunately, I mean, I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Okay. So
how could that get worse? Please.
So she parlayed her fame, using air quotes there, into a moderately successful podcast.
Okay. We gotta be like that. We're not turning our nose down at that. Moderately successful podcast. Like, okay.
But she had followers, and she and her team sold, merch or whatever it takes to make a podcast run and pay for whatever and make money or whatever, right? Yes. So they're trucking along, but at some point they launched A meme coin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crypto.
Yes. Kind of an NFT sort of thing, but crypto,
Yes.
right? The meme coin was called Hawk. The latest celebrity sponsor cryptocurrency with absolutely no point except to help turn cultural capital into real capital. Who doesn't love a good meme, right? She wrote this in a press statement.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Becoming a part of meme culture interested me into the world of crypto. I've learned so much along the way. Launching my own token feels like the perfect next step, not just to create something meaningful for my fans, but also to protect my community from scammers. That is a direct quote. Do you know what she did next? As soon as the coin shot above 500 million in market capitalization, she and her insiders sold out, pocketed the money. It lost 95% of its former value. They pocketed 3 million.
so that plan worked exactly as they drew it up. That wasn't a failure. That was a success.
Bloomberg writer Matt Levine blamed the victims. People are complaining that this is a rug pull or a pump and dump, but I cannot understand what different thing they thought would happen. At which point, she disappeared from social media, has stopped posting, has stopped doing her show, and FTC would like to have a word with her. On December 20th, after going dark for weeks, she posted a statement on X saying that she is cooperating with the people suing the creators of the coin. I take the situation extremely seriously and want to address my fans, the investors who have been affected, and the broader community. She's not giving back the money, though, is she?
No, and I was going to say, and location from that tweet was Grand Cayman. No extradition and banking secrecy laws. So, yes, absolutely, idiot of the week. That said, I feel like this is a different category. Because this isn't an idiot. This is, how do I turn this fame into some cold hard cash really quick before the fame goes away? I know. Somebody walked up and said, I've got a plan, and give us about 4 weeks and you can make about $3 million. And is that an idiot? I don't think it's an idiot. Terrible
criminal.
Person. It's criminal. Well, allegedly criminal.
Sorry. Thank you. Excuse me. I apologize.
It's allegedly criminal, and it's poor form. On the other hand, Dwayne, we've got hey Dwayne, has nothing to do with what we just talked about. What would you think about us launching a crypto coin? 3 million, did you say?
Can we get some financial advice on this? No, we cannot. No, somebody's screaming at their podcast player right now. No, you cannot. Do not talk to me.
Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah, that's no good. Yeah. People who bought crypto get ripped off. I got to admit, at this point,
who's the idiot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what are you watching this week?
Well, we haven't done what we're watching in like a month. So, because we've kicked this all down the road a couple of times. A couple of things. We've been watching The Diplomat. We never watched it when it first came out. So, watched season 1 and just started season 2 last night. I think you had even mentioned it because it's the London Embassy, which I pointed out was the original McDonald's, maybe. Anyway, yes, that is a great show. Of course, I mean, the showrunner and creator worked on The West Wing, so it's right in the pocket if you like The West Wing. Incredibly good show. And Lisa and I are only picking apart very small things in it mostly. So we're just enjoying it. We also, over New Year's, my sister and nephew came to visit. Hey, Jack. We watched Wicked was released on for purchase or rent on the 31st, I believe. So we now own Wicked, and we watched Wicked again at home, I think on New Year's Eve. No, they were here. So it would have been New Year's. Anyway, we watched Wicked again on the movie. So to do that, Rue season 17 is, so we've started watching that. And then the other one, over Christmas, we were looking at what Netflix had. We started watching Carry On Netflix with Jason Bateman and Taron
Egerton. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you finish it?
There was a review. I didn't pay attention to a lot of reviews, but all of a sudden when it got released, there were lots of reviews. Swear to God, there was a review that said this is this generation's Die Hard. And I'm like, okay. We did not finish it. I think Lisa would have finished it. It is not the worst movie I've ever seen. There are worse movies. This film made me angry though. Like I was just like, there is a willing disbelief that you have to have for things.
Yes.
But the level of disbelief that you needed for this made me to the point of like, I have to stop watching this. I cannot. I would rather watch a crappy, terrible movie. And again, lots of people liked it. It's fine. It's not bad. But I hated it. And I literally just we have to walk away from this. I'm going to ask you what you watched, and if you tell me Carry On, we're going to have some porn. By the way, it is not this generation's Die Hard. There is nothing about this that is. Die Hard had a good script and a good concept. And by the way, at one point, have you seen Carry On?
Most of it.
Okay.
At least some of it.
I will say this. At one point, most of it is just talking. There is just talking, going back and forth with earpieces. Lisa's sitting on the couch, and she wasn't as bothered as I was. But she looked at me and she said, at this point in Die Hard, there were a lot of dead people. Something had happened. Multiple things had happened. And we're just watching dialogue.
And probably reading it. Because you can't understand anything anybody says. So you got the subtitles on.
Less words, more. This is an action movie. Less words. Wow. Is he reciting the Gettysburg Address? Anyway, sorry, please. Anyway, I cannot recommend it at all. Again, it's not a terrible movie, but man, did I hate it. Anyway, what have you watched?
You're going to watch it. Know what you're getting into.
Yes. So angry. How about you? What have you been watching?
We watched the movie Conclave. Have you seen this yet?
I have not. I've heard there's a little bit of. Is there some controversy around it?
It did not go where I expected it to go. But it's about electing a new pope.
Yes.
Fictional, sequestration of the College of Cardinals as they try to elect a new pope. And there's some mystery and intrigue, and did not see that coming. So I'm not going to give anything away, but it was, you should. We liked it. We really liked it. Enjoyed it. Absolutely. Yep. Highly recommend that. And then we started watching a new series and I believe that's available on Peacock.
Conclave?
Yes.
I believe so.
I believe it's available on Peacock. And we started watching a new show that's on Paramount Plus called Landman.
Yes. It's a Taylor Sheridan thing, right?
It is a Taylor Sheridan joint.
As is every other show on Paramount Plus.
And I got to say, I didn't watch Yellowstone.
Yes.
Right. or 1923 or 18 whatever the hell else he did. I don't know. I didn't watch any of these, right?
Yes.
But I'm generically, because of societal cues, familiar with the memes and the characters, right?
Yep.
But I didn't watch the show. But I can understand watching Landman that this character is Kevin Costner and this character is Beth and this character is right. I mean, there are some similarities apparently between the character types,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But this is Billy Bob Thornton and Ali Larter and John Hamm and apparently Demi Moore. But I would love it if they would give her something to do. This could have been, frankly, any 50-year-old actress. They're paying Demi Moore a ton of money, I'm sure, to be in this and have, up to this point, about 5 lines of dialogue. So there are 10 episodes. We're on episode 9. I believe it's already gotten picked up for a second season. Did you like Dallas?
I don't believe I ever watched Dallas.
Okay. This is the rough and rugged version of Dallas. Billy Bob Thornton is a landman. He is in charge of the oil fields. He's not the rich guy. He's not the owner. He's the guy on the ground in charge of everything. He used to be a rich guy. He's not a rich guy anymore. Now he's just a landman and he solves problems. And man, are there problems. There are constant problems in oil fields. I don't know anything about oil fields, so I don't know how realistic it is, but something breaks or something explodes or
breaks and explodes.
But both, yes. Yeah. There is always something going on. I don't know how true to form it is, but it is entertaining, I've got to say. We do like this show. Now that Blue Bloods is over, and we watched the series finale of Blue Bloods, and it was fine. It wasn't the best series finale ever, but it certainly wasn't lost. I didn't get right. There wasn't that. But now that that's over, this may be the new family drama thing that we watch because, oh boy, it's good.
So ironically, today I was listening to I listened to a podcast that it talks about the business. It talks about the business of Hollywood. So it doesn't really get into the creative pieces of it, but it talks about the deals that are made and how things work, and it's very interesting. The episode from today that I listened to already today, the host had the person who runs basically the CBS television channel. She was on as a guest, and he was asking about how is broadcast surviving against streaming and even thriving and doing all of this kind of stuff. And they were talking about how, especially CBS and Paramount has now started figuring out, you run broadcast shows and they have an audience, and then you also put them on Paramount Plus, and how Nielsen now has this combined streaming and broadcast in the first 7 days number. And if you look at that, some of these shows are doing 10 to 13 million between the two of them and how they're working through all of this. And so they were discussing all of this stuff. And then he was like, "Oh, and then you brought Yellowstone from which was on Paramount, which was a cable channel, right? And then you brought it onto CBS, and you're bringing that streaming one." And then he's like, "Maybe you're going to do that with others." And she said, "Yeah, they actually ran this during the strike. They ran the first season of Tulsa King, which was made for Paramount Plus. They ran it on CBS, and then that led into the second season on Paramount Plus. And then, and this is why I bring this, he goes, "Yeah, I don't know how you could possibly bring Landman though." And she goes, "Yeah, by the time you edit out all of that or you bleep it all out," she goes, "not every show is for every medium."
Yes.
She's like, "That one will probably," she goes, "that one will, I don't see how we would be able to bring it." So I heard about Landman today, mostly he's like, "Wow, I didn't expect to see anything like that on Paramount Plus, and you can't go on CBS.
It is TVMA for language, nudity, and sexual situations.
Yeah. So, and they what I get the sense of they earned it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It wasn't a soft. No,
This wasn't. Hey, if you take out these two things, we'll drop the rating.
no,
Yeah.
no. They had no intention of ever trying to not be a nope. It is what it is. It is. Yup.
Yes. I think the comment though was because he said her comment was, he said, hey, that's the nice thing about streaming. You don't have any standards. You don't have the same kind of standards and practices that you have to deal with. And she said, hey, she goes, I did, Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
He has never had an issue with any notes that have ever come from the network on any of his shows. He's wonderful to work with. And the host says, because you let him do anything that he wants, and he basically runs your entire company at this point, because that's the only thing people are watching. And then she said, we also have Matlock. Okay, so anyway, enough Hollywood news.
Landman, don't watch it with your 10-year-old kids. Did you learn anything this week?
Yeah, well, sort of, yeah. So my next starting the running season has started again, as it were, and I have another half marathon coming up next week. And so last couple of weeks, I'm like, I should probably ramp up my training. And then I went back and looked at like what my training has been. And I realized instead of ramping up my training, I need to, what's the word I'm looking for? Start training. I took a few more weeks off after my ending in November with the Christmas holidays. I took more time off than I thought I did. And so 2 weeks ago, I went out for a long weekend run to get ready. And Lisa said, how are you feeling? I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think this first run coming up here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have to. And she said, maybe change your target time a little slower. And I'm like, yeah, I think, you know what? I think I'm going to have to change my target time. And then this weekend, I went out for a longer run, my last really long run. And I came back and she goes, how was that? And I'm like, I think I'm going to have to. She goes, just survive it this time. I'm like, yep, that's kind of the target time is finish. And then I didn't feel like I felt it for the next 2 days and went, that's weird, because I've never felt like, normally I do some work before this. So here's what I've learned is when you're not in elite shape, and I'm not in elite shape, just sort of ramping up the last couple of weeks, the work has to be done. And this is not something you can cram for. Let me put it that way. This is not hey, I didn't study for the entire semester. I guess I'm going to pull an all-nighter. I may have made some tactical errors, and next Saturday may not be as fun as I was hoping for. So anyway, there might be more content coming.
Can you buy electric shoes?
No, but I bet you know what? I bet you I could reach out to that dude from the New York City Marathon and see if those e-bikes that his buddies used, they can't use those on the marathon again. Maybe I can see if I get a good deal on those. How about you? What'd you learn?
So I talked about going golfing, getting a new watch, using the watch for and the little software program that I have that tracks all of my shots, right?
Yeah.
So earlier this summer, they added a new feature where, and it's called Top Shots. So it looks at all of the shots of your round and picks out 3 or 4. And if it's really good, it compares it to how a PGA Tour pro would have done. Right.
Okay.
But this last round today, I didn't get any PGA Tour quality shots. In fact, I'm going to send you a screenshot of what they sent me. Arccos got jokes.
Oh, okay, wait.
Okay, so what you're looking at down at the bottom
Yeah.
is my drive.
Yeah. And the thing the dot really close to where you started is where it went.
Is where it went, which actually, as you see it going north, it goes into the water.
Yeah.
93, it goes, so I scrubbed it down the left-hand side, 93 yards, and into the water. And Todd, what's Arccos's commentary up in the top?
Great drive.
Thank you.
Exclamation point.
Assholes.
That means either, just like video games, you have this set on easy mode. Great drive. Way to go, buddy. Or it is set on golfing with the fellas on a Saturday.
Apparently Arccos has sarcasm mode. Thanks.
Great drive there, bud.
The music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. You can subscribe to our award-winning podcast with visiting runner Todd Prince. Are you going to be visiting?
I might barely be running, so I'm more worried about that one.
You can subscribe wherever you get your pods. Just search Talkin' and the number 2. There's no G and no space. You can stop by and see us at the Tuba City home office. Please don't do that. Thanks to our listeners, our sponsors, and our contributors, as well as everybody who listened to last week's Toddies and voted and contributed there. We appreciate all of you. As always, you can send your feedback on this episode or any episode to feedback@talkingtotodd.com. Todd?
As you're going through the titles and the alternate titles, one just popped to mind, and I just want to put it here so we can close the book on last year. What was the one that you had for the training exercise for the Apple Falls Police Department? Training exercise goes to pot?
It was training. Yes, it was training exercise goes to pot.
Yeah. I now realize that we missed another one there, which is pretty clear because you got the dog. So what is it? It's potty training.
That would have been shorter. Yes, that was. Yep, that would. Yep, that would be a missed opportunity.
Potie. That's the way we spell potty.
Oh, things we're going to have to clean up next week. Probably this. We'll be back. We're here. We're talking to Todd.
I think I see the problem with your golf app. It was a misspelling. You hit the ball 93 yards and put it straight in the water. It's not great drive. It's great dive, because that's what it's going to take for you to find your ball.
Those lakes were deep, and it's Florida, so
Gators.
There's a non-zero chance that there's an alligator somewhere in the vicinity.